in there.
There's his LX05 GDZ.
Unless it doesn't have music.
Oh, the engine started.
No, I don't like that.
The engine started, Angus.
Yeah.
Apparently this one's got a better engine to the others.
It does have it!
There you go, told you it has music.
Is that different music?
Yes!
GDZ does have it.
There you go.
Filming
This
the
bus
music
never
on
used to have
GDZ.
music. It didn't have music last time, didn't it, Nick? This is changing it.
You get it too.
He might do.
I'm asking for the horn when he gets back.
Angus, you haven't been on this one before.
No, I don't think I have. But the only one I've been on is like it's pick you up at Constance and take you all the way over to Swanage.
Did it?
No, what's that? That was the bus, wasn't it?
Does have it. Is that the same music as VBM?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Oh no, it is the same.
Hello and welcome aboard the City Sightseeing Bournemouth tour.
Here we go.
Today takes us to Poole Quay via Sandbanks. Please remain seated whilst the bus is moving and ring the bell if you wish to get off at any of the stops along the route.
The bells.
We look forward to showing you the best of the local area and telling you about the history and the people who helped shape it into what it is today. Be sure to hold on to your ticket, which entitles you to 10% off any other city sightseeing tour operated in over 100 locations around the world. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask the driver, who will only be too happy to help. But please only do this when the bus has stopped. As we head over the overpass, we see Bournemouth Pier jutting out into the English Channel to our right. Our award-winning beach is 9.5 miles long, stretching from Sandbanks in the west to Hindustry Head in the
Busy
south.
today.
To our left are the Lower Gardens and the Bourne Stream from which the town gets its name. The name comes from the Scottish bird
Is that
in
a
a large
crazy
stream
grove as
or
well?
small river. Bournemouth prides itself with its wonderful gardens, the local parks department having its own nurseries, and a team of dedicated gardeners and greenkeepers tending to more than 1,000 hectares of green
I'm gonna have to
space,
beat the horn
roughly
during
20%
this.
of the town. Coming up on our right is the Royal Bath Hotel, the very first hotel in Bournemouth. It was opened on the day of Queen Victoria's coronation in June 1838.
That's interesting. The Royal Bath Hotel. Like a scaffold.
Get on this one again, Saturday.
As we travel down West
Imagine
Road,
Luke did the horn sign
Arts
it.
Pavilion Theatre, now nearly 100 years old. It hosts a back-to-back programme of plays, musicals, concerts and comedy, and is also the home to Pavilion Dance Southwest, an inspirational charity that has, in the last 10 years, allowed more than 500,000 people from every section of society to experience the joy of dance. Look up to the right for more Art Deco buildings which used to house a number of hotels, an ice rink and 2 cinemas. One, the Bournemouth, saw the Beatles play a 6-night residency in the summer of 1963, just before Beatlemania took the band around the world. The same year, the Bournemouth also hosted the Rolling Stones and Cliff Richard of the Shadows.
Different.
Stores and meeting places. Now pedestrianised for many years, it was the main intersection where 7 roads from the north, the east and west met. A number of the original buildings surrounding the square were lost due to bombing during the Second World War, but nothing like the extent of Southampton to the east and Plymouth to the west. Through the centre, you'll see the garden stretching back inland in one direction and down to the seafront, making a mile-long green corridor. Former Prime Minister Winston Churchill holidayed in Bournemouth as a child, where he would sail a model boat in the stream. Shortly coming up on our left is BH2, the new cinema and restaurant complex. But this was once the site of the town's bus station, which was so large it had 2 levels. Between the 1930s and the 1970s, the bus station was buzzing with holidaymakers during the summer months. The town caught fire during 1976. Although around 80 buses on the upper level managed to be driven out, 16 coaches on the lower level were destroyed, and the building was finally demolished in 1982. When we leave the square and head back up the hill towards the seafront, look out for a wide turreted building on your left called the Royal Exeter Hotel. It's on the site of the very first house which was built in the town by the founder of Bournemouth, Lewis Tregonwell. For many years this area was open heathland, but by the 1790s smugglers were using the area to move their contraband from the cliff tops and chines. Tregonwell was stationed here as a captain of militia, and his job was to defend against a possible French invasion and to also help combat the smugglers. The area's most famous smuggler was Isaac Gulliver. In 1810, after Tregonwell had retired from service as a Dorset Ranger, he brought his wife Henrietta here, and she fell in love with the sea views. They bought the land from St George Taps and built their summer residence.
As we travel up Priory Road, we head up onto the West Cliff. This area has an extremely wide choice of hotels and guest houses. There is something for everyone, from young person's budget accommodation, costing £20 a night, through to the very expensive and very plush Marriott Highcliffe, the choice of politicians attending party conferences, standing on the left, just above a lift to the beach. The very big investments in more hotels, bars and restaurants reflects Bournemouth's potential as the South Coast's leading resort, and the fact that the area is very busy on weekends throughout the year. At the next roundabout, notice the mature pine trees that dominate the street scene from here on. 200 years ago, Bournemouth looked very different. It would have been bare and sandy heathland, like much of the New Forest to the east and Dorset to the west. But then landowners started planting more than 3 million Scots pines. This was partly to replenish the country's timber stocks after the wars with the French, and partly to cash in on the supposed health benefits of the sea air blowing through the pine needles. By the 1880s, the transformation was complete. The Dorset writer Thomas Hardy called Bournemouth Sandbourne in his novel Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and described it as a Mediterranean landing place on the English Channel. Truer and truer with our special microclimate and global warming.
Sounds a bit funny, this Russ. Oh my god.
Let's drive deeper into the pine woods along a purpose-built scenic drive with amazing views of the coastline. If the weather is clear, a fine view is coming up on the left of the white chalk cliffs of Old Harry at the end of the Isle of Purbeck. The road follows valleys called chines, transformed by the erosion of the sand and gravel into lush microclimates that entice the visitor to explore. We're following Durley Chine, and we will cross over Middle Chine and Alum Chine before meeting more of them later. These chines provided cover for smugglers moving contraband inland. Smuggling was not so much a cottage industry as serious organised crime. To avoid paying tax on drink and tobacco from France, smuggling depended on gangs of local men to receive the goods from boats and hide them if required before wider distribution. The area was littered with tunnels and secret chambers to stash the contraband. The biggest boss of them all was Isaac Gulliver, who led a small army decked out in his own livery. When his home was demolished, it was found to contain a secret room only accessible through a door 10 feet up a chimney.
The bus will be slowing down to cross some bridges that cross the chines. The most famous of the bridges was a rustic walkway where an accident occurred in 1892 that could have dramatically changed the whole course of history. The future Prime Minister and wartime leader, Winston Churchill, was a teenager on holiday with his younger brother and cousin. They chased him along the bridge. When he tried to jump across to a fir tree, he lost his grip and fell 30 feet to the ground below. He was unconscious for 3 days and bedbound for 3 months.
Nice day for an Avon's ride.
Very nice. Not too hot, is it?
No.
The chines provide a microclimate that allows plants from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Asia and South America to flourish. These award-winning tropical gardens were first established in the 1920s and replanted in 1946. Follow the well-marked plant trail through the yuccas and agaves, the plant from Mexico that is the basic ingredient of tequila. The name of this chine is alum chine, called after a substance that was produced here 400 years ago from minerals found in the sand. Alum was used to fix the colour of dyed cloth and for softening leather in the tanning process. Mining didn't carry on for long, but some claim that the first chemical industry in Britain was born in this area.
Another famous resident of the Chimes was Robert Louis Stevenson, the adventure story writer best known for Treasure Island. He came to Bournemouth for his health and lived close to here for 3 years in the 1880s, producing A Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Kidnapped. The success of these works allowed him to travel to Somalia in search of even better health, but he died there in 1894. He called his house here Skerrymoor, after a Scottish lighthouse built by his family. Skerrymoor was destroyed during the Second World War, but you can visit a memorial garden on its site.
This is the bus I always wanted to get on this one. It does have different music to the others.
How many are there altogether?
3. The other one it's not out today, is the half open.
Look on GDZ! God! The next so far.
As we come into Westbourne, we pass elegant houses and reach an affluent area with many small independent shops, posh boutiques, delis and restaurants. Westbourne is known to its residents as the Village and is admired for the friendly atmosphere of its streets and arcades. It has such a great reputation that people come from all over Bournemouth and Poole to eat and drink here. Westbourne is also home to some of the best pubs in Bournemouth, a great place to sample the very best of British beer.
Oh, is it
Real ale from food producers like Hall and
Yeah, we'll be
Woodhouse.
getting on VPN tomorrow.
Get on the other food tomorrow.
Or VBJ. I like the music.
Look on GDZ! He's ready, driver.
roundabout on the right called County Gates. These days, you can see the offices of an insurance company, Liverpool and Victoria in the centre. But for many years, this was the boundary between the counties of Dorset to the west and Hampshire to the east. In 1974, Bournemouth and Christchurch were incorporated into Dorset, boosting the size of the small county enormously. Today, roughly half of Dorset's population of over 700,000 lives in the Poole Bournemouth conurbation.
We've pressed a horn in these spots before.
Here to get straight onto the beach. There is a seafront promenade, and if you turn left, you can walk a mile and a half or so, and you will reach Bournemouth Pier. Turn right, and you can walk just over a mile until you reach Sandbanks. If you walk straight ahead, you can enjoy a blue flag beach with some of the cleanest bathing water in England. Also on the beach is an elegant restaurant that is especially known for its variety of fresh fish daily. It's in an Art Deco building of the 1930s, which housed the country's first solarium, offering artificial sunshine under ultraviolet lamps all year round.
If you look to the right as we climb the hill, you can see the start of one of the longest chimes, Ransom Chime. It stretches inland for a mile and a half and is said to have been a regular route for smugglers as they entered. One visitor who appreciated the walks here was the poet John Mitchell. He wrote, "Walk the asphalt paths of Branksome Chime in resin-scented air like strong Greek wine." The houses either side of the chime have some of the biggest plots in the area, affording all, comparisons with Beverly Hills are not unwarranted.
The village at the top of the hill is an exclusive neighbourhood called Canford Cliffs. If you wish to visit Compton Acres Gardens, be ready to ring the bell in the village and hop off just after it. After a 3-minute walk, you'll be wandering around 7 distinct ornamental gardens, including an Italian garden and a Japanese garden with spectacular views across Poole Harbour. Someone has worked out that the average wealth of the residents of Canford Cliffs is within the top 2% of the people in the country. If you look carefully, you can see some signs. Rolls Royces are commoner on the streets here than anywhere else. A hairdressing salon offers a valet parking service, and the luxurious cafes are designed so that you can both see and be seen if you wish. Canford Cliffs hit the headlines when a bank decided not to allow clients to use its branch unless they had an income of £100,000 a year. But that did not affect the village's reputation for a very friendly atmosphere. After the village, enjoy the gradual descent towards Poole Harbour, with many fabulous new houses being built on either side. Returning to sea level on reaching the shore of Poole Harbour. This is the second largest natural harbour in the world after Sydney Harbour in Australia. You'll see that it is popular with all types of boat owners, and particularly windsurfers. The harbour has double tides, which means that there is a useful amount of high water to sail in during each 24-hour period. If you want to drive around the harbour, it's about 25 miles. But if you were to follow the shoreline closely, it would be about 5 times longer. The biggest island in the middle of the harbour is Brownsea Island, one of 5 islands in the harbour. Hidden out of sight between Brownsea and the Perfect Hills in the distance is Fursey Island, and towards the west are Green, Round and Long Island. Poole lies over to the right, and so does Wareham, sandwiched between 2 rivers emptying into the back of the harbour. They are the River Froome and the River Piddle. That's a name which is back in favour after the starchy Victorian times when it was sometimes called the River Trent. An easy boat trip from Poole Quay will take you to Wareham for fish and chips on its quay or a walk around its Saxon defences. If you look between the houses on the left, you can see the beach. We're on a thin spit of land between Poole Harbour to our right and the English Channel to our left.
Nick, have you taken your hat off so you don't do a Michelle Harvey? That's a nice sounding car. Well, so you're such a... Why is she doing it? No, Angus, you did say such a stay.
What's that?
Nick. What's the...
I nearly did one.
Oh no, it was a nearlies. No!
I thought it was coming on and then managed to stop.
Angus nearly did it.
There might be one coming up later.
Not be one. Rubbish!
Okay.
We went on that Raventop the other day.
Which one that
The
was?
Swanage one.
Mine seems to be live mode.
Yeah. Oh, the breeze is coming. Oh yeah, Nick, I did Sonny a Century twice while waiting for you. Yeah.
Why'd you call it 20th century?
Don't lie!
The tip of the Sunrise Peninsula has been called the Monte Carlo of the South Coast.
But that was a uni bus drive,
just
that.
behind Tokyo and Manhattan. Until the 1920s, this place was covered in rabbit-infested sand dunes. But by 1999, plots were being bought and sold for more than £1 million. The most sought-after ones have water frontage, often with their own landing stage. This is a place where a developer might pay £5 million for a plot of land, tear down a perfectly good new house on it, and put up a steel and glass
Why you did England?
sell it for £10 million.
It's very friendly.
Yeah, there are
was
hotels, shops, and places to eat, including one of Stein's restaurants. The former Beatle John Lennon bought a house here for his aunt Mimi in 1965, and he would often visit to escape the limelight and the screaming fans. She continued to live here until her death in 1991. The following year, the house was bulldozed, and today a new house sits on the site.
I thought it might be busy on the Sandbanks ferry.
Yeah. Lots of cars.
Well, why do we have to wait?
Oh, because it's 2 lanes, so.
Coming up on the left is where cars queue for the ferry across to the perfect sandy beach of Shell Bay and the rest of the Isle of Lalabek. It only takes about 3 minutes and is great for pedestrians and cyclists too. Because of the very strong tidal currents that run through the harbour entrance, the ferry pulls itself along on 2 large chains. When the chains are worn out, they're used by local fishermen to provide moorings in the harbour. Beyond the ferry, we come to more fabulous properties, many lived in by well-known people such as Harry Redknapp, Harry's a local treasure in these parts because in his time he's managed Bournemouth, Southampton and Portsmouth.
What's on the sun?
Laura just asked me to show you that.
Oh, air ambulance helicopter in New Milton Recreation Ground. And it's the Hampshire one. Yeah. Dorset one's bigger. Angus, we watched the Dorset air ambulance take off.
Is that good?
Yeah. It's really noisy.
Yeah. I think all these cars are trying to get into that one lane to get into.
Oh, is that what's holding the sun?
Yeah, it's getting onto the ferry. So that's why we're stuck.
We should have gone in that lane earlier.
Yeah, maybe. But then something's been opened off.
Because the 50 is trying to get in as well. It's a lady drive on the 50. Come on.
We can't beat the one because it's not.
Well, we could, because that's parked illegally.
No, it'd be the car it beats. We might have to. That music's on TV and that.
Come on. I bet we're stuck in this traffic tomorrow as well.
Well, what are you doing tomorrow?
Going on this again.
Are you?
Yeah. Yes!
Oh, they're trying
That
to
car's moved out the way.
Yeah, they're trying to wedge things forward. Yeah, that one's managed to get into that lane.
Oh my.
That's David.
If that was David, he would have beat it. So he's impatient.
Get out the way.
Oh, finally! We're getting somewhere.
Isn't that long away? Oh, it's good.
Oh, but the 50 has to change lane. That will be an issue. David's tooted it.
Yeah, but he might not be restricted, maybe.
You haven't had to toot it yet, we haven't had. Well, just watch it, Mark. Swap, oh.
And if it ain't cool, yeah.
birdwatchers and theatre goers where the annual open-air productions take place. Brownsea Castle at the left-hand end of the island is leased to the John Lewis Partnership, the owners of the Waitrose supermarket chain and the John Lewis department stores. It's used for training and as a retreat for staff to stay in and enjoy sharing food with peacocks and red squirrels after the day trips have gone home. The island is one of the few places in southern England where red squirrels survive, because grey squirrels have never been introduced to the island. The island used to have a clay mine and pottery, but all activity had ended by the time the last private owners, the Bonham Christie family, left in the early 1960s. Brownsea is famous as the home of the Scouting movement. Scouting began in 1907 when Robert Baden-Powell built the first Scouting camp on the island. He'd been a British Army general during the Boer War and saw a need for a new type of training in practical skills and leadership. Currently, over 31 million boys and girls in 216 countries are Scouts and Guides. You can see a bronze statue of Robert Baden-Powell on Poole Quay, and Poole Quay is the place to get a boat across to Brownsea Island. Please ask the driver for more details.
LX05.
Behind Brownsea Island sits Fursey Island and the Wych Farm oil field. It was developed by BP in the late 1980s, and at its peak it was Western Europe's largest onshore oil field, producing over 100,000 barrels of oil a day. The oil field is in one of the country's most environmentally sensitive areas. The drillers used a directional drilling technique to tap into reservoirs extending right out 10 miles under Poole Bay to the area in front of Bournemouth Pier. The oil and gas extracted are pumped through an underground pipeline to the Forley oil refinery near Southampton.
That's a big cat,
Sailing boats, windsurfers, kite surfers and cargo vessels are not the only activity out there on the waters. The biggest ones you will see belong to the ferry companies linking Poole with the Channel Islands, Cherbourg and St. Malo. They use a channel 25 feet deep, but the average depth of the rest of the river is only a couple of feet. Sometimes you can see dark coloured inflatable boats. SBS is the Special Forces of the Royal Navy, manned mostly by super-fit Royal Marines and based at Hamworth, just across a lifting bridge in Bournemouth. The SBS are the UK's equivalent of the US Navy SEALs. They specialise in amphibious operations using mini-subs and small boats for intelligence gathering and counter-terrorism operations.
Also on the water, but trained to save lives rather than to take them, are lifeboats from the Royal National Lifeboat Institution's headquarters at the college, which are also in Hull. The RNLI is a charity that has saved lives at sea around the coasts of Great Britain since its foundation in 1824, and its lifeboats, whose crew members are mostly unpaid volunteers, help more than 15,000 people every year. If you see bright orange boats, it could well be lifeboats being tested or crew being trained. And the local authorities support RNLI lifeguard stations on all of Bournemouth's 7 miles of sandy beaches, helping you to swim in the clean and safe conditions which have won the European Blue Flag Award over 20 times since the 1980s, more than any other British resort.
Travelling through the area called Lilliput, and now we're beginning to get close again to shallow tidal inlets and reclaimed land on the left. The road narrows to go under a high railway bridge carrying the main railway line between Weymouth and London Waterloo. It takes about 2 hours by train to London. Some people commute there from this area every day. Further west at Wareham, the line used to connect with a branch line to Swanage, but it was taken up in the early 1970s. Soon after, a group of enthusiastic local volunteers joined together to reopen a short section of the track to steam trains. They've been so successful that special steam trains from London can now run occasionally between London and Swanage, and there are hopes of a permanent connection to the rest of the railway.
Accidentally pressed the London Bridge. I just imagine it turned underneath that big bridge. That'd be loud.
Or
Oh?
to this bridge.
Yeah. How loud do you think that would be? Oh, would it definitely? That's nice of him. It's nice to be driving there.
will shortly be slowing down to enter Poole Park, but first we pass Poole Civic Centre, which used to be the home of Poole Borough Council until it joined up with Bournemouth and Christchurch in 2019 with the formation of BCP Council. The Civic Centre was built from Portland limestone in 1931 in the Art Deco style. On the outside, just below the cast iron and lead guttering, are 24 superb sculptured stone reliefs depicting historical events from the earliest times to the 20th century. Poole Park was constructed on land given to people of Poole by Lord Wigborne. Covering more than 100 acres, the area used to be marshland and grazing meadows and was opened by Edward, Prince of Wales, in 1890. Known as the People's Park, the area is well used by locals and visitors alike. If you fancy stretching your legs, there is a flat half-hour walk from here to Poole Quay.
The Romans made a supply base in the harbour when they invaded 2,000 years ago. But until Norman times, 1,000 years later, Wareham was the more important port. In the Middle Ages, Poole suffered raids by Spanish and French attackers and gained some prosperity when it won the right to export products so vital to the country's economy that even today the Speaker of the House of Lords has a symbolic stick of wool as his throne. After the new colonies in North America Poole had lucrative trade exporting all kinds of provisions, including tobacco pipes made of clay from around the harbour. But the real money spinner was trading dried cod from Newfoundland to the Catholic countries of Europe to meet their demand for fish in exchange for wine and olive oil from the Mediterranean. This made local merchants vastly rich and explains the opulent houses you'll see in the High Street and on the quay in Poole. But 200 years ago, other ports took over this trade, and Poole dwindled in importance as its harbour proved too shallow for the new generation of ships.
That one wasn't as low. Mick, apparently that David does still drive, but he doesn't do it often.
We've got GDZ today. We've got on.
Apparently the other David does still drive.
That was when it was a new drive we got.
To our left is the main Poole bus station, and to our right is the Lighthouse, Poole's centre for the
Is that where
arts.
Fenny went, the
Housing
lighthouse?
a
I read
variety
about
of
that.
performance spaces, it is one of the largest art centres outside of London. As well as being home to the world-famous Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra, it has also hosted many famous bands from Oasis to U2, and singers Kate Bush and Tina Turner. Michael Jackson even played the venue early in his career as part of the Jackson 5. In front of us is the large Marquis House. It dominated the centre of Poole for more than 40 years and, at its peak, employed more than 2,500 people. Locally, if you did not work there yourself, you would almost certainly know someone who did. To our left is the Dolphin Shopping Centre, formerly the Poole Arndale Centre, one of 23 Arndale centres built by property developers Arnold Hardenbach and Sam Chippendale, the Arndale being a portmanteau of their names, Arnold and Chippendale. Whilst never being celebrated for its architectural merit, it was one of the first American-style shopping malls to be built in the UK. As we travel over Towngate Bridge, we cross the main London Waterloo to Weymouth railway line and have views across to Holts Bay to our right, a large area of Poole Harbour which is reached by the narrow channel that runs in front of Poole Quay. This area is known as Hunger Hill and was the site of a windmill, benefiting from winds coming in from the southwest across Poole Harbour, at one time seen as a miserable and desolate place where nothing would grow, hence the name Hunger. We will now be passing on our right a number of buildings of the RNLI. The RNLI, one of the country's biggest charities, has its headquarters based here in Poole. In addition to the central administration, this is also where new lifeboats are designed, tested and put through their sea trials. There is a college where crew members can learn the vital skills that allow them to go out in all weathers and help mariners in distress. The college includes an indoor training pool that can simulate the worst of sea conditions, with waves, wind, and even artificial thunder and lightning. The pool also allows crews to practice their capsize drills with full-size inshore lifeboats that can be tipped over on purpose and then righted again, all inside the training pool.
LX05 Stadium, Poole Kitty. GDZ.
Oh, we're using the alternative stop. We're using.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Unless it's shut.
I don't know. Oh no, there's someone wanting to get on in
We will soon be at Poole Quay, where the bus will turn left before stopping outside the Thistle Hotel. Please remain seated until the bus has come to a stop. If you have a bus and boat combination ticket, please head straight to the Blue City Cruises kiosk back along the quayside to reserve your place on your preferred sailing. There are lots of things to see and do on Poole Quay, but be sure to take a walk through the old town and see some of the historic buildings, with the oldest, Scapland's Court, next to the Poole Museum, dating back to the 13th century. The bus will leave from this stop on the hour every hour, and the last departure of the day is at 6 o'clock. If the quay is closed later for an event, please use the alternative stop by the multi-storey Quay Visitors Car Park.
What time is it, Angus?
Coming up to 2 o'clock.
Oh, so we're already nearly due. Now until we get a toot for it. They took a picture of GDZ, they did. So big in the pushchair, it got on angles. No, it got on George's. Since we got 150 knots. Oh, so I might as well keep filming. I might as well. No, well, it stops in 10 minutes. No, it won't. Not if it's late. Yeah? He was good at it. He was. Yeah, he's going to do it when he leaves, so we watch it. Unless he'll do it quickly when we get off. I was tempted to ask him if we can use the Honor Anna because that's it to you, but I know us. But he's definitely going to do it, You have to check the switch as well before he does it. Like what you did when Lee was driving. No. Is he gonna toot when he leaves the pit here, is he? So it'll be the full trip on GDZ, so it's nearly due, it'll be. Now do on here for the other ones. community could. Saturday, GDZ Wilson Davins.
We'll get on this one when it's down as well. Oh, we'll get.
Yeah, I'll try and get on this one. I don't know if if that was VBM, I would have accidentally pressed the bell with us. Yeah.
If you have just joined us, welcome to City Sightseeing Bournemouth and to your tour of Pool Bay and Sandbanks. Please remain seated when the bus is moving and ring the bell if you wish to get off. If you have any questions, please do feel free to ask your driver, but only when the bus has stopped. The journey back to Bournemouth takes about half an hour and finishes back at Bournemouth Pier. As we set off to our right, we pass the Fish Quay and the old lifeboat station and museum.
This
Across the water, we can also see Brownsea Island and Sandbanks in the distance.
Oh, this is magic. Take this one on Saturday. Definitely is too. I hear we can all smart when we get off. It's not me, DJ.
We are now taking the route around Beta Park. The roads we are travelling on include Newfoundland Drive and Labrador Drive, referencing the strong links with the Canadian fisheries. In 1497, the John Cabot was given letters by the king to go and seek a western route to Asia. What he found instead was Newfoundland, where the waters were so teeming with fish, the boats were impeded. The discovery more than 500 years ago resulted in great prosperity for the town of Poole, whose fleet over time would grow to more than 300 vessels. Often, vessels would spend 2 summers and 1 winter in Newfoundland, and large numbers of people from Poole settled there. And it is said that the true Dorset dialect lasted much longer in the remote North American colony than it did here. If you follow the Harborside Walk, you will see the remains of the Powder House, a purpose-built store for gunpowder. After there was a fire on Port Quay, very close to a warehouse storing gunpowder, it was decided that the risk was too great for the town, and that gunpowder should be stored away from the quayside. In 1775, the building was constructed on the shoreline of Beta. With only a small door and 1 small window, the walls were 2 foot thick, and the roof was of a light construction, so if there was ever an explosion, it would be contained within the walls, and only the roof would be blown off. Fortunately, its design was never tested. Across Beta Park on our right was a small island, joined to the town by a causeway that had an isolation hospital on it, a place where people with contagious diseases such as smallpox would come and be treated. In reality, for many, it was the place where their days ended. Nearby was also the site where victims of the Black Death were buried. The plague is understood to have reached these shores from continental Europe in 1348 through the port of Weymouth in West Dorset. Once infected, people would not become ill for 5 or 6 days, giving them the opportunity to spread the disease throughout the community. Death occurred in 60% of cases, and England's population shrunk by between 1/3 and 1/2. Whilst the plague still exists in some parts of the world, it is now easily treatable and no longer poses such a threat.
Still goes on about Forest School. Drives the great Darren drives the half these people on.
cannot leave the shore of Poole Harbour without mentioning the flying boats that were once a common sight on the water. As aviation began to take off at the beginning of the 20th century, the south coast began to see many air pageants and air races. In days where airstrips were rare, planes would take off and land on any piece of suitable flat land. Indeed, in 1910, Charles Rolls, who started the Rolls-Royce company, was the first Briton to be killed in a powered flight accident when his plane crashed on such a piece of land at Hainsbury Head to the east of Bournemouth. During the 1930s, large flying boats were developed that would open up new routes to destinations without adequate facilities to land the conventional plane. Bournemouth became an important centre for the start of it, to destinations around the world, including the USA and Canada, India and Burma, Hong Kong, Singapore, and even Australia. Around the war in the months of 1948, the British Overseas Airways Corporation, which was to eventually become British Airways, had 600 staff based in Poole to support the flying boat services. There were up to 21 passenger flying boats based in the harbour.
Nick, do you think he'll beat his all when he leaves? Angus, this is going to be louder.
What's that?
This, all of this bus is loud.
Is he going to do the horn when he gets back?
Probably when he leaves again.
Wait for him.
Yeah.
Poole Hospital to your left is the main hospital for the area, with a busy accident and emergency department and specialist maternity suite. Every year, an average of 3,800 babies are born in the hospital. That's just over 10 a day, but it can be up to 20. Bournemouth Hospital does also have a maternity suite, but Poole deals with all Bournemouth babies that are early or experiencing complications during delivery. One benefit of a stay at Poole Hospital is the fine views many of the wards have over Poole Harbour.
We'll probably be getting on the other bus tomorrow, the one we saw before this one. Probably be Angle driving that one. Well, actually, if he doesn't take that one first.
Poole sits in the county of Dorset. It is run by Dorset County Council, based at County Hall in Dorchester. A few lesser-known facts about Dorset. The county of Dorset stretches from
Mick,
Christchurch
wasn't it
in the
round
east
here he
to
beat
Fife
last
in the
time? The
west,
car pulled
and then
in
up to
front of
Sherborne
him.
and Gillingham in the north. Not
Bus
to
beat
confuse
here
with
last
the
time, someone
identical
pulled in
spelled
front of him.
GDZ.
That was really
It covers
loud.
an area of about
Better get the driver's
100
shot.
miles, 2,500 square kilometres. The county has 8 members of parliament, all are Conservative. The county has a population of about 3/4 of people, of which approximately half live in Bournemouth and Poole. The Celtic name for Dorsetshire apparently means the place of fisticuffs. The Dorset lager is grown in Dorset and is said to be the hottest chili in the world. It has an average score of 923,000 Scoville. As we make our way towards Bournemouth, we pass through Parkstone. There are two parts to this area, Upper Parkstone at the top of the hill and Lower Parkstone, which is much closer to sea level. We'll be travelling through Lower Parkstone. The area in the centre of the village is called Ashley Cross. During the daytime, it is relaxing with its lush green park and water fountains. At night time, it comes alive with its movements of bars and restaurants around the edges. This area is another one of these sought-after parts of Poole, along with sandbanks, lily puts and Camden Cliffs. But up until the 1920s and 30s, much of this area was agricultural land.
We got GDZ.
That was a bus we saw on that Sunday. It's wonderful.
It's the angle we got on VPN, it is.
Now if he's on this, I'll more about...
If he's on this one, get on this one again.
That Mark could even get VPNs. I'll ask him if he's out first tomorrow.
Or if he's out second. Ah! Wow, did you get caught by that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is that funny, Mick?
Looking forward to talking to that Mark.
I'm glad we got on this. All his anger's stuck in. I'm usually talking to the driver when we get back. So he's due to leave.
Wonder if we're ever going to see our mark on the Euro.
Yeah, we will. I believe the whole one's about the ignition on this one. Doesn't on the other two.
We're heading through Branksome. Until the late 19th century, the area was mainly unbuilt heath and woodlands. With the development and growth of nearby Bournemouth, the area became popular as a place to live. With the development of the railways, Branksome continued to grow, served by the new Victorian line between Liverpool and Bournemouth. Branksome railway station, which still serves the area today, helped encourage a massive growth in the early 20th century. The area became an official suburb of Poole in the 1960s, and by the 1980s, almost all open areas of Branksome were built upon. One notable resident of Branksome was Lord Bentry, the airship pioneer.
Angus, I saw the bin then this morning, Northern Ways.
I had this Did you take a video to film it?
Yeah, it was a driver loading.
Did you get any waves?
Driver beat his off.
You remember what day my bins used to get?
Wednesdays.
That's right.
I still remember.
They still come as soon as you leave.
My God.
More or less that time, early in the morning.
Still comes at that time.
And but the recycling doesn't always get done every week.
Doesn't it?
Our recycling bin's absolutely overflowing at the moment.
Oh, is it?
So I hope it's going to get done this Wednesday.
Is it due this Wednesday?
I think so. Otherwise I'll have to take my recycling into work.
Hey, Richard.
Put it in the bins there.
Not on to a change now, eh?
Sorry?
We now return to
Oh, come on, get through.
marking the old
it's
boundary
Spain.
of Dorset, Hampshire. The large building at the centre of the
So we go through
roundabout
Red Round
was
now.
LB, formerly
Oh, was it?
Victoria.
Well,
As
the
a
front
mutual
part of the
society,
bus got through
LB
on
has
that.
no shareholders,
Oh, so we'll
and
count
its
that as
owned
our
by members are all the policyholders of Liverpool Victoria Friendly Society Limited. Previous to LB, the building was home to Frizzell Insurance, and the roundabout
We're
is
not
still
that
to
far
this day
away
known
already.
locally to many as Frizzell Roundabout. There are a number of
Oh,
other
you wanted
large
to stop
insurance
this
and
one?
finance companies based in Bournemouth, the most notably being JP Morgan Chase, the American bank. Their large campus is located just as you come into Bournemouth.
I'm going to go to the Isle of Wight again in the summer.
I don't know yet.
Is seen as a good place to
Go
set
every
up
year,
business.
boy.
One of
We
the
went
key
for
benefits
holiday
is that when
last
recruited
year.
regionally, nationally, or even internationally, it is seen as being a great place
So
to
we
come
took
and
a week
live
off
with respected
college.
employees.
Go on holiday. Holly don't work at Spark anymore.
Who doesn't?
Holly.
Oh, Holly Marshall.
Yeah.
Now passing through Westbourne, notice that
They get
most of the
someone called
retailers here
Rachel
are
teaching now.
independent shops, bucking the national trend
Still up,
for
mate.
homogenised high streets.
Oh yeah, Angus, do you remember Bo? Bo used to be at Bournemouth Hall College. New Zealand lady. She's in our class.
Westbourne Arcade, which hosts, amongst other things,
She says hi, by the way.
Alright, hello there.
Tesco's local hidden old church, and look at the impressive facade of the bingo hall, once the Grand Cinema.
We've had music on there.
dirt.
We got big dirt, Amy.
Say it often. We on the new tour now.
Has one of the longest runways in the south of England and often welcomed Concorde. The airport opened in 1941 as RAF home, and as part of its wartime duties, it was home to a range of aircraft, including Spitfires, Wellingtons, and Typhoons. Towards the end of 1942, it became a base for a number of American squadrons. Some facts and figures about Bournemouth, its residents and its visitors. The population of Bournemouth is approximately 162,500. Bournemouth has 5.5 million visitors a year. The value of tourism to the town is £480 million a year, and it supports 16,500 jobs. A total of 53,000 foreign students visit Bournemouth each year, studying at 34 recognised language schools. The Littledown Centre is the most successful leisure facility in the south of England, with approximately 1.5 million visits a year.
With their natural harbours, both Poole and Christchurch have been established trading ports since the time of the Romans. Where Bournemouth is now was for many years common land between the two, given over to grazing. Much like the New Forest, the soil is very sandy and acidic, no good for great crops, but okay for herding and grazing livestock. Pockets of heathland still exist in the borough, most notably along the top of the Overcliff and at Hengistbury Head. The Dorset heathlands are home to all 6 of Britain's reptiles, 3 snakes and 3 lizards. But can you name them? The adder is England's only venomous snake, though rarely fatal. The grass snake is the prettiest but stays well hidden, and the rarest of all is the smooth snake. The common lizard and the bigger sand lizard thrive on the heathlands and can be easily seen if you take a quiet, gentle stroll on a sunny day. Often found under old bits of tin, the slow worm looks like a small snake, but is actually a nameless lizard. Just a 5-minute walk to the seafront via Commercial Road, and is the hub of the Bournemouth gay scene. It is a vibrant part of town full of bars, restaurants, cafes, and various shops. Every year during the summer, Bournemouth 3, which is Bournemouth's Pride March, takes place around here, along with other events focusing on the arts and culture. The main triangle area is also home to the Bournemouth Central Library, which opened in 2003 at a cost of £9.5 million. In the British Construction Industry Awards competition, it won the Prime Minister's Better Public Building Award. bringing many hundreds of new residential properties into the town centre. The two traditional Bournemouth industries of finance and tourism are going strong, but there is also a huge growth in the media and creative industries. Bournemouth University has in many ways acted as a catalyst for this, producing graduates who have gone on to take lead roles in a number of Oscar-winning films. The National Centre for Computer Animation continues to produce amazing talent, but not all of it leaves the town, and it was recently highlighted as having one of the healthiest tech economies in the UK.
We've got on GDZ today. We won't be tomorrow.
It's Saturday.
Unless Angle's on it. It'll be the Z one again on Saturday.
Right, is it?
Centre has a number of very large churches, which provides church capacity for the high levels of summer visitors. With falling congregations, some of these buildings have found new uses. At the end of Westover Road, you will see St Peter's Church, which is one of the largest in the town and today still has an active congregation. The church has many famous connections, including Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein, who was buried here.
It'll be after the end when we're getting off. So,
That's the second time you've got on LX05. It's always this one.
I bet it'll be this one again next time for you.
Now nearing the end of the tour as we come back to Bournemouth here. We hope you have enjoyed your tour today and thank you for travelling with City Sightseeing Bournemouth. Please make sure you take all of your belongings with you and hold on to your ticket, as it entitles you to 10% off any other City Sightseeing tour in more than 100 destinations around the world. Our sister operation, Discover Dorset Tours, offers regular full and half-day tours to the Jurassic Coast, Lulworth Cove and Durdle Door, the Isle of Wight, Stonehenge, and a number of other local and regional destinations. Please ask your driver today if you would like more information, or pick up a free leaflet from the lower deck. Thanks again for travelling with us, and we wish you a safe and pleasant stay in Bournemouth.
That's what GDZ did it this time. Ask the Senate to ask it. Oh, it's 2 apples.
Number 6. 6. Oh no, it's number 70. And those ambulances might even go before. It is still Antonio, it drives that car. Oh, we accidentally turned off the music. Oh no, there's 4 ambulances. Unless they're having a break and... Nick, you didn't do St. Century's Day! Because we're hitting! We got on GDZ! We got on... Yeah?
To this driver.
I'm just going to blow the horn now.
Light district. Yes.
Let me go ask the driver.
Thank you, Mark.
That's quite alright.
Are you driving this vehicle again tomorrow? As we're back here tomorrow?
Probably.
Or are you going to take VBM?
I'm not sure. I've got 25 minutes.
Might be VBM tomorrow. I'll ask if we can go to Hawthorne now.
Callum, come down a minute.
Yeah, I'll leave again at 3 o'clock.